Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video we are going to talk about cookie session. This is in continuation of the series that I've been pasting for the Node and working with Express server. So second video was a cookie parser, so where we could create a cookie to identify the user, but it's more likely less secured as the cookie information is readable, and then you could just go with that and see. This one is more secured. It's a cookie session, or we call it as an encrypted session. The session gets stored on the server side, but this is much more secured, so we could use it to identify a user who's logged in onto the website and can take normal actions on that. So let's try to see how we could use, and we'll use the same Postman to actually test that cookie session also. If you have not already watched to the previous videos, the part number 1 and part number 2, I'll post the link for part number 2 in the description of this video so that you could have a better idea how to work with that. So let's try and see how we could use cookie session within the Express server. So let's see how we can implement the cookie session. We'll use an npm package, and we'll try to use it within the same Express server that we created, that I showcased in the previous videos. So let's try firstly requiring a cookie session, which is I'm going to require cookie session. There's an npm package we need to get installed, but we'll install that. And then we want to use, because we don't want to use the cookie parser now, so we could comment it out. The another one over here, we were using that cookie parser, so we'll comment it out. So now rather than cookie parser, so we'll say app.use, and then we'll try to actually push the cookie session which we created. So we'll just simply say app.use, and then we'll say cookie session. So we just use that at the top, cookie session, and we created a new object out of that. And then we'll try to use give certain properties which we need to provide, and I think so those properties are, one is the name. You could just give any name out of that. Let's say it's a session. The second is the keys. Now these keys are used for generating the secret, like kind of creating a session and assigning a secret to that. So as a part of the good practices or best practices, don't specify your keys over here. You should use some environmental variables for that, but this is only for demonstration purpose. So I'm just going to supply, let's say, my secret key, something like this. And then what would be the age, max age of that particular session? So I'll just give it to 24 into 60 minutes into 60 seconds and into 1000. That is like the milliseconds which we convert. So it is like for 24 hours we are actually making that. And finally, we just need to use, let's say, close this one. So this is all looks good. And the use cookie session, we have specified all the settings which are required. Now fundamentally the cookie session is established. I do need to install npm install cookie session. So once I install that, okay, this is installed, and I'll also install node1. That's another one. Okay, that's all installed, looks fine. So now we could use this cookie session for actually setting up the stuff. So here we created two routes for using the cookie parser. I'm just going to copy that, comment it out. Now we'll try to create two routes which are for cookie session. So these are the cookie session routes. Let's say the first one is create session. So now once you want to create a session, so you specify with rec, and then you use a session object, and then specify any variable. So let's say I'll specify user ID, which is here, and then I'll specify the value for that, which is again still the same, the RD, and then I just respond with the result rather than cookie. So this is a session created, and then there is a logout. So I'll just use rec dot session object dot null. I'll clear all the session for that, and then response.json logged out. So this looks fine to me. Now let's try to see whether we are able to create a cookie session or not, or whether it is encrypted or not. So let's go back to the Postman. Sorry, before that we need to start the server. So node-man, I'll say test express .js. Oops. Let's see why it is not. So I'll just go on test express server. So node-man. Okay, npm install --g node-man. Okay, node-man express test express.js, and yes, it starts off, but it is crashing. So let's see. Full module, it says requires stack test express, cannot find express. Okay, so let's try installing that also. So npm install express. So install that. That looks fine. We'll just do the start again. node-man. Yep, it started off running on 5000. So the server is on. So we have two methods, two routes, create session and a logout. So let's firstly see. If we go on to this, we'll say this both are the post methods. So I'll try to use, if I see the cookies, there are no cookies right now. So we'll try to create a cookie, http localhost 3000 and create session. So once I click send out of here, so yes, the session gets created. There is a result for that. If you see the cookies out here, so there are two cookies whenever you use a session cookie. So you would get a session and a session.signature. They are encrypted by default, so you can't really read those values or what exactly it is there. So that's how the session cookies get created. Now if you want to clear those session cookies, so you could just use another post method, and then you just simply say http localhost, and rather than create session, so I'll say logout. So once I click on logout, do the send. So yes, the logged out has been done. So if I see the cookies, no. If I see the cookies over here, it's all gone, yes. And even if I go on to this and see the cookies out here, so the cookies are not available out here. So of course this was the result at the time when it was created, so that's why it won't be, it is just showing you that, but technically the cookies are gone. Now even one thing we could do is, if you want to check up for the session, and let's see, so we'll go back and we'll try that out in this. So if you want to get the department, so we'll check if the department, like sorry, rec.session.user ID is there, then only you return the departments, means the user is logged in. Otherwise you don't return the result. So what you do is, so you just simply say response.json result is user is not logged in. So that's what we want to do. So yes, it's automatically refreshing. So let's try that. And if we'll create another one where we'll say http localhost 3000, and I'll say get departments, that's the route which we have, get departments. Now if we try that, let's say do the send. So user is not logged in because the session has not been created. So yes, you get that result. So let's create this session, which is this create session. So we'll just do a send. Yes, a session gets created, looks fine. Now we go on to the get and we'll run the same get departments send, and we get both of the departments because the session was there and the session actually is getting picked up. So the session is there, user is logged in, and yes, we could actually get that. Now if you do the logout again, so let's say we do the logout again, so the session is destroyed, you go back to the get departments and send it again. So yes, the user is not logged in because the session has got destroyed. So friends, this way you could see that we could easily set up the cookie session, which is more likely a secured session to identify a user. The session gets created on the server side. Of course, there is a small cookie that is a bit of piece of information that is written on the client's PC or the browser. But this is more secured, better way of doing the things, and I hope you could use this in your daily projects, or you might be using it already to store the cookie session. So I'll be coming back with more videos. So stay tuned, guys, and have a good one. Thank you.